Welcome to the deep dive. We're really thrilled you're joining us today because we have a truly fascinating and kind of slightly unconventional source to explore together.
Yeah, it really is a unique one today.
Right. So we're looking at a transcript from a YouTube channel called Speak English with Class, and the specific video we are breaking down is titled 8 TINY Habits to Become Financially Literate in 2026.
Which is such a great hook, by the way.
It really is. And our mission for today's deep dive is highly specific. We are going to extract the most actionable, completely jargon-free financial habits presented in this video.
Zero jargon.
Exactly zero. The ultimate goal here is to help you stop dreading that awful moment when you have to look at your bank account and instead help you actually start feeling in control of your financial reality.
And the absolute brilliance of the source material we're working with today, it really lies in its format. Like you said, this is an English learning video.
Right. Specifically, it's designed for a B2 level English learner. And, for those who might not be familiar with that term, a B2 level learner is someone who's fluent enough to have a solid, nuanced conversation, but they still need complex ideas presented cleanly.
Cleanly, yeah. Without all those confusing, hyper-specific idioms.
Precisely. Because the creators of this video had to explain financial concepts with that level of clarity, they deliberately avoided Wall Street jargon entirely.
They had to.
Yeah, they stripped away all the intimidation factor that usually surrounds the topic of money. And honestly, it reveals this profound core truth. Financial literacy isn't about memorizing complex math formulas.
Or, having some prestigious finance degree.
Exactly. True financial literacy is simply about understanding how money actually moves in your daily life.
Which is so refreshing to hear.
Yeah.
And the source paints a remarkably relatable picture right out of the gate to sort of ground this concept. Think about this scenario, and I'm almost certain you felt this at some point.
Picture yourself holding your phone, tapping on your banking app to open it. Just pay attention to the immediate physical feeling in your body as that little loading screen spins.
That spinning wheel of anxiety.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is your breathing relaxed? Are you approaching it with curiosity? Or do you feel a tiny sinking sensation in your stomach, that quiet, oh no feeling?
It's always the oh no feeling.
The video points out that for a vast majority of us, it is definitely that oh no feeling. Highly educated, incredibly hardworking, responsible people feel completely lost and stressed when it comes to their personal finances.
It's so true. They might possess all this theoretical knowledge. They can probably talk about macroeconomics at a dinner party.
Right, they sound brilliant.
Yeah, but that academic understanding simply doesn't translate to real-world financial peace when they're staring at their own screens.
There is this massive psychological gap between passing an exam on economics and actually feeling a sense of calm about your own paycheck.
And that gap between theory and reality is exactly where financial anxiety lives and breathes. It isolates you.
It really does.
And that is precisely the friction these 8 tiny habits are designed to eliminate. They bridge the gap between knowing you should manage your money and actually doing it without the overwhelming dread.
Okay, let's unpack this by diving right into habit number 1. Putting money where your values are.
This is a big one.
It really is, because this is where the source delivers a pretty major reality check. There's often a glaring disconnect between what we tell ourselves matters and what our bank statements actually prove.
And numbers don't lie.
They do not. If we were to pause your life right now and ask you to list your top priorities, you might confidently say your health, your family, continuous learning, or perhaps building a community.
Sure, all the right answers.
All the right answers. But then you look at the last 30 days of your spending. The source gives a very specific, almost painfully funny example. You claim that health is your ultimate priority, but your bank statement shows that a significant chunk of your money is going to fries, sugar, and random smartphone apps.
Yeah, confronting that disconnect is a harsh truth.
It stings.
It does, but it's an essential one for anyone trying to gain literacy. And this happens largely because society constantly pushes us to be what the source defines as materialistic.
Right.
We are bombarded with messaging that conditions us to care too much about buying things and acquiring stuff rather than prioritizing our stated values.
Just buy.
Exactly. And the culprit hiding behind this disconnect is usually discretionary spending. That's the money you spend on non-essential things. It's not your rent, your basic groceries, or your utility bills.
It's the fun money that isn't actually that fun.
Right. It's those impulse coffees, the multiple streaming subscriptions you barely even watch, the daily treats, or that late-night online order that just magically shows up on your porch every single week.
We've all been there.
But the most encouraging part of this first habit is that the goal is not to fix everything overnight.
Hmm.
The habit is simply taking an honest look at your spending and shifting a very small portion of that discretionary spending toward your actual values.
So, like, not completely cutting everything out.
No, maybe just reallocating the budget for 2 takeout meals into buying a book, a course, or just slightly better quality food at the grocery store.
But wait, looking at that disconnect sounds genuinely miserable.
It can be.
If you open your app and see you spent $200 on junk food when you swore you valued your health, the immediate human instinct is to just close the app, ignore it, and go watch television to avoid the guilt.
Of course it is.
So how does the source suggest we actually get past that initial shame?
Well, that brings us seamlessly into habit number 2, the monthly money check-in.
Okay.
To bypass that instinct to hide, you have to ritualize the process. Once a month, you block out just 30 minutes, you put your phone on silent, you sit down with your numbers, and maybe you make yourself a nice cup of tea.
Set the mood.
Exactly. The source describes it beautifully. It should feel like a low-stakes coffee date with your bank account, not a horror movie.
A coffee date with your bank account. I love that phrasing.
By lowering the emotional stakes, you remove the guilt. During this 30-minute date, the habit requires you to ask 3 very specific questions. First, where did my money actually go this month?
Just purely observational?
Right. You are looking at the reality of the statement as neutral data, without attacking your character.
Yeah.
Second, did my choices move me closer to my goals or further away?
Okay. Getting a bit more analytical.
Yes. And third, and most importantly, what is one small focus for the next 30 days? You are not setting 5 massive goals. You're setting just one manageable focus.
Like deciding, I'm going to focus on cooking at home 3 nights a week this month so I don't fall behind on my utility bills.
Yes, exactly. That kind of manageable scope. The psychological shift occurring here is monumental.
Yeah.
By establishing this gentle monthly confrontation with reality, you actively avoid living paycheck to paycheck, where your entire salary evaporates before the next one arrives, leaving you without a safety net.
The worst feeling.
And you also avoid falling behind on bills, where you miss payments and the debt compounds into a heavier burden.
So it's about getting ahead of it.
This monthly check-in is the literal transition from feeling like a child hiding from the monster under the bed to an adult calmly sitting at the table, evaluating the reality of their life.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because even when we desperately want to be that responsible adult sitting at the table, we have to deal with our inherently lazy brains.
Our very lazy brains.
You know the exact feeling. Your brain says, oh, I'll definitely log in and set up that credit card payment later tonight, and then later absolutely never comes.
Never.
That brings us to habit number 3, automating the basics. The core argument here is that we have to accept that our memory simply cannot be trusted for boring, routine tasks.
It really can't. Relying on sheer willpower or memory to manage routine finances is a guaranteed recipe for failure.
Yeah, willpower fades.
Willpower depletes throughout the day. The solution the source provides is putting the serious money tasks on autopilot.
Set it and forget it.
Exactly. This means setting up automated systems so the critical work happens without you needing to manually initiate it. You set up automatic payments for your rent and your fixed bills to go out immediately after payday.
Right.
Furthermore, you set up an automatic transfer to your savings on that exact same day.
Okay, I understand setting up auto pay for fixed bills like rent, but automatically transferring savings on payday feels a bit risky if you aren't entirely sure what your grocery bill or gas expenses will look like that week.
That's a valid fear.
Does the source address that specific friction?
It addresses it through the philosophy of taking care of future you. The idea is that the transfer doesn't have to be massive.
It doesn't have to be half your paycheck.
No, it can be $20. The amount matters less than the psychological victory of the system.
Oh, I see.
By setting up these automated systems, even small ones, you are actively acknowledging that you will likely be too tired, too stressed, or too distracted later in the month to make the optimal choice.
You're protecting yourself from yourself.
Exactly. You are making one smart, definitive decision today and letting the digital system repeat it for you indefinitely. It is a quiet, recurring act of self-respect.
Which frees up your mental bandwidth to deal with the unexpected parts of life. But what happens when you actually encounter a little extra money?
The danger zone.
This is a massive trap for so many of us, leading to habit number 4, treating extra money differently. The source describes this psychological phenomenon perfectly. Extra money has a tendency to burn a hole in your pocket.
It really
It
does.
is that whispering voice in your brain that suddenly chimes in with, we had a hard week, we deserve something right now. Money almost acts like a little kid tugging at your sleeve, shouting, spend me.
Spend me right now. Let's put this in a real-world context to see how dangerous that whisper can be. Imagine you get a $500 tax refund or a small bonus at work.
Okay.
The immediate dopamine hit makes your brain scream, upgrade the television, or book a weekend trip.
Instant gratification.
To combat this visceral reflex, the habit requires a physical pause. The necessary mindset shift is profound. When you see extra money, the habit is to stop asking only, what can I buy right now?
Right.
You must also train yourself to ask, what small part of this can I keep for a future me?
The source uses a really elegant analogy to explain this balance.
I love this analogy.
Instead of treating every extra coin you get like a piece of candy that has to be consumed and enjoyed immediately for a quick rush, you have to start treating a portion of that extra money like a seed.
The seed, yes.
A seed is something you plant, protect, and allow to grow into long-term stability. You don't have to lock all $500 of that refund away, but you create a rule. Half goes to future you as a seed, and half goes to current you as candy.
It's brilliant.
That compromise is how you stick to the habit without feeling totally deprived.
That is the perfect visualization. Candy provides a fleeting spike in happiness, but a seed provides long-term sustenance and shade. Yet, even for people who grasped the seed analogy and are actively trying to improve, there's another major pitfall the source identifies.
Oh boy.
It is the danger of becoming a compulsive money learner.
Oh, this one hit incredibly close to home. Habit number 5 is curing the compulsive money learner.
It's a sneaky one.
I cannot tell you how many hour-long deep dives on index funds or articles about the best budgeting apps I have bookmarked on my browser right now.
Piles of bookmarks.
But have I actually opened a new investment account this week? No. This is the trap where you are constantly watching financial videos, reading massive threads online, and saving brilliant content, but you change absolutely nothing in your physical life.
You feel busy, but you aren't actually doing anything.
Exactly. Your brain feels incredibly busy, so you feel very proud of yourself for learning, but your bank account balance looks exactly the same as it did 6 months ago. It is so easy to mistake the consumption of content for actual action.
It creates a dangerous, false sense of productivity. You are consuming information compulsively, but without application, that knowledge is entirely useless.
So what's the cure?
The rule the source provides to cure this paralysis is brilliant in its sheer simplicity. You must take one small action on the exact same day you learn something new.
Action creates true financial literacy.
Yes.
The source gives fantastic, concrete examples of how to execute this. If you watch a video about the predatory nature of bank fees, don't just nod along and scroll to the next video.
All right, take action.
Open your banking app right then and there and see if you can switch your account or remove a fee.
Perfect.
If you listen to someone talk about budgeting, grab a pen and write down a simple plan just for the upcoming week. If you learn about the importance of emergency funds, log in and move even a tiny amount, just $5, into a separate savings space before you go to sleep.
It breaks the inertia.
You forcibly transition yourself from a passive listener into an active doer.
This transition from passive to active moves us beautifully into the social dynamics of spending, which is arguably the most hidden and toxic part of our financial lives.
Oh, absolutely.
Habit number 6 is breaking the money taboo. For so many people, there is a deep, suffocating inner shame surrounding money.
It's so isolating.
It is. There's a persistent, isolating illusion that everyone else understands personal finance perfectly, everyone else has their retirement mapped out, and you are the only one who is confused and struggling.
It is a massive cultural taboo. We can joke with our friends about so many deeply personal, intimate things, but the moment specific salaries or credit card numbers are involved, everyone goes completely silent. We hide.
We completely shut down.
But the habit here is to stop hiding. The goal is to start having small, honest conversations with the people around you. And the source is clear. This is not to show off, and it is not to compare lifestyles, but simply to learn and demystify the topic.
The tactical advice from the source is to choose one very simple. For example, you might ask a friend, what app do you use to track your expenses? Or how do you plan your weekly grocery budget?
Just casual.
Yes, it immediately deflates the pressure, strips away the ego, and opens the door to shared learning. And the source points out that this is especially critical if you have a partner.
Oh, finances and relationships.
The financial anxiety in a relationship usually stems from mismatched assumptions. You have to get on the same page.
Communicate.
When both people understand the exact numbers and agree on the monthly plan, a magical dynamic shift happens. You start fighting less with each other, and you start fighting more for the exact same goal. You become a team facing the numbers, rather than adversaries hiding numbers from each other.
That's powerful.
What's fascinating here is the internal emotional landscape we must navigate when we start having these conversations and making these changes. That brings us to habit number 7, navigating the now versus later tension and redefining the word no.
This is a tough one.
When we finally start managing our money, there is a constant, exhausting inner fight. We genuinely want to enjoy life right now, but we also desperately don't want to be stressed out when rent is due later.
The ultimate struggle.
Society exacerbates this internal tension by constantly making us feel deprived.
Always.
The marketing messaging is relentless. If you aren't buying the newest gadget or eating at the trendy new restaurant, you are missing out on life itself. Society turns every financial no into a form of self-punishment.
You can look completely materialistic and successful on the outside, constantly posting pictures of new things and nice dinners, but still feel deeply deprived and anxious on the inside because you know you can't afford it.
Exactly. You're projecting wealth, but feeling panic.
The mindset shift required for this habit is incredibly powerful. You have to realize that saying no to a random expensive dinner on a Tuesday night isn't a punishment.
Not at all.
Saying no to that dinner is actually saying yes to having less fear at the end of the month. It's about trading a momentary pleasure for a lasting sense of security.
The source makes a fascinating linguistic pivot here to support that mindset shift. It reclaims the word frugal.
Frugal has such a bad reputation.
Society has weaponized the word frugal to mean deprived, boring, or cheap in order to keep us continuously spending.
Right.
But if we redefine frugality as a boundary, as a protective measure for our future peace of mind, it completely changes the emotional weight of skipping that trendy Tuesday dinner.
It flips it from a negative to a positive.
Being careful with your money is a profound act of self-respect.
Yeah.
You aren't saying, I don't deserve this nice thing. You're saying, I deserve not to be terrified when my bills arrive.
I deserve not to be scared. That completely flips the script. And once you start redefining what you are saying no to, you have the space to figure out what you are saying yes to.
Yes, exactly.
That leads directly to our final habit, habit number 8. Spending on skills, not just stuff. There is a huge generational trap that people fall into called keeping up with the Joneses.
The endless, exhausting treadmill of trying to project the same lifestyle as your neighbors, your friends, or the wealthy strangers you see curated online.
It's exhausting.
You do it just so you don't feel lesser than them in the social hierarchy.
And because of that pressure, your extra money, the seeds we talked about earlier, gets thrown at things that look really good in the moment but do absolutely nothing to change your future trajectory.
Wasted seeds.
The alternative habit is to intentionally direct your discretionary spending toward acquiring skills. The source lists highly practical examples: paying for a public speaking workshop, buying a short course on video editing, or investing in a really solid book on project management.
Real assets.
These are assets that don't just disappear after a week of use. And to help you make this choice, the source provides the ultimate litmus test question to ask yourself before you tap your card.
This is such a great test.
The question is, will this still matter for me in 3 years?
That is a phenomenal filtering question to interrupt the lazy brain. Will this still matter for me in 3 years?
Yep.
If the answer is yes, like a certification course that might open up a new career path or a tool that improves your daily workflow, then it is a highly effective place to invest your money.
Like a seed.
But if the answer is no, like another pair of designer shoes you absolutely do not need, or a premium upgrade on a rental car, then it is just your old materialistic habits burning a hole in your pocket again. It's the candy masquerading as a seed.
And when you ask that 3-year question and you realize it is just a habit burning a hole in your pocket, what is the physical action you take? You take a deep breath, you put the phone down, and you walk away.
You literally just close the browser tab.
Just close it.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what becomes incredibly clear from this B2 English learning video is that achieving true financial literacy isn't about making one giant, dramatic, life-altering investment.
It's not a lottery ticket.
No, it is not about hitting a crypto jackpot or memorizing a textbook. It is simply the aggregation of repeating small choices.
Small habits.
It is taking one honest look at your values versus your bank statement. It is committing to a 30-minute monthly coffee date with your numbers. It is setting up a few automated payments so your fatigued brain doesn't sabotage you.
Right.
It is the discipline of taking one small action the same day you learn something new, having a brave conversation to break the taboo, embracing the word no as a shield of self-respect, and intentionally investing in your own skills.
It's a cumulative effect.
When you string these tiny habits together over time, you slowly but surely transform from an anxious, passive bystander into the confident main character of your own financial story.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? It means that it absolutely does not matter what your background is. It doesn't matter if you have zero formal finance education or if you've been actively avoiding your banking app for the last 5 years because of that oh no feeling.
The past doesn't matter.
It doesn't. You do not have to overhaul your entire life by tomorrow morning. You can choose to implement just one of these tiny habits today. Just one.
One tiny step.
Set up a $20 automatic transfer or ask yourself the 3-year question before your next purchase. By doing so, you take the very first step toward replacing that physical feeling of financial anxiety with genuine, lasting peace of mind.
And as you think about which of these 8 habits you want to start with today, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Okay.
This builds upon that very first habit we discussed regarding your values and the disconnect with your spending. Ask yourself this. If your bank statement from the last 30 days was suddenly published as a short biography of your life,